Hello, Sarah.
Hey, Louise. I'm excited for this book.
I know it's been a long time coming. Thank you, Barbara. You gave us this right when we started the podcast.
Yes, The Girls Who Went Away by Ann Fessler. I hope people are following along and have gotten the book.
Yeah.
We're starting with just the first two chapters
Mm,
today.
yep. My own adoptee, my own story as an adoptee, which I'm glad to read this actually from her. I felt very connected to these first two chapters. I just have so much to say. You start with what you think you want to say at the beginning here.
Well, I just highlighted that three generations of women from my family have been brought together by adoption. Neither my maternal grandmother nor my mother, nor have I given birth to a child. I'm the first for whom this was a conscious choice. Also, her mother was adopted.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just learning about Anne. I liked it. This part reminded me of my biological mother, Linda. My adopted mother and father were offered very little information, whatever, but she was 19 and a big farm family, and he was an athlete and a college player and had more going for him. And that's sort of what happened with my mom, I was like, huh, that's interesting. And it just was, this is back to the shame we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a good girl, you don't. It's never put on the men. It's kind of
No,
like they just kind of, the girl is now damaged. That was that's the whole
right.
thing that
Or
she talks about.
and that how many, had a a person in high school that, disappeared for a while,
Yeah.
take care of an aunt or whatever it
Yeah.
is, which everybody knew going away to have a baby and
And no
coming
one
back
and no
like it
one
didn't,
thought what happened to them. No one really
or they just
asked
didn't talk about it.
right,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The one thing also, there's something in here that really hit me with her that maybe that's in the next chapter. I don't want to skip ahead, where she doesn't, I'm losing my place. She didn't think about as an
Right.
adoptee
She
all
said that
those years. Oh, here it
we were
is.
gonna get
Yeah.
to that, but I was gonna first say, um, when her mother, her
Mm-hmm.
adoptive mother, the adoptee, had said to her,
Oh, right.
you should look. And she said I could see in her eyes that she was speaking from her own experience, and the thought that my mother might feel the same sense of loss was shocking me. I felt
Mm,
guilty and empathetic and naive all at once. Why had I never considered this possibility? How could I not know? How could
right.
everyone not know?
Right. Oh, and this is right after. You're right. I did skip ahead. It seemed incredible to me that after 40 years as life as an adoptee, I'm hearing the other side of the story for the first time. I don't know that I connected those dots ever until I was having a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, and even now I'm like, oh my goodness, you and I were speaking before this about Linda and Tilda. Maybe we're here to do them some justice. They are not here, and we can
Mm-hmm.
speak to them a little bit, because that is a whole nother, we're always in the adoptee mind. All of a sudden you're like, wait a second, there's a very important piece here.
I was just talking to somebody the other day about Hilda and saying, well, it was an era where they didn't even have sex ed. She
No.
probably didn't. Actually, I was talking to my sister about our mother, and I said, I really think she didn't know she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She only gained, and Annie had never thought of that. But when I said it, I said, look, she only gained 7 pounds. Maybe she was ashamed and told that, or maybe
Yeah.
trauma. Um, Gave her a different memory, rewrote history in her head, and she told us that
Yeah.
she knew. And I said she only gained 7 pounds. She got on a plane. Like there's all these things that,
Little, yeah, that
and
add up to that.
Annie was like, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. But so, and here they talk about fearing that sex education would promote or encourage sexual relations. Parents and schools thought it best to leave young people uninformed.
Because they won't have any hormonal surges and
Right, at all. Yeah.
right. It was interesting because this is about the girls who were sort of sent away or had to
Yes.
go away. My biological mother was not sent away or had to go away. She was all on her own, but her whole life blew up. And so she really was sort of still put away. It's like,
Hmm.
I have to leave school. I have to work. I have to do this on my own. I'm handling this by myself. And what are you doing? You're 19. I mean, it's
In
just
Tilda's
go away.
case,
It's go away. Yeah.
in Tilda's case, and I know this because I just got all the birth records recently and read through all the unredacted notes. She was supposed to go to nursing school.
Hmm.
She lands in St. Louis, where she's going to go to nursing school, gives birth to me, and still they rejected her to come in, even though she'd already had the baby, me, even though,
Oh,
and they wouldn't,
it still tainted her.
it still tainted her. So they would not let her into nursing school.
Oh my. Mm.
Even though she'd already had the baby, she wasn't going to be in nursing school pregnant.
No, well, she's not good enough, Sarah.
Just shame. And
Right?
they're like, maybe we can revisit this in a year.
Oh,
Then they never did. Okay, so go on with what you were going to say, because that's the crux of this is the
well,
finding, meeting that woman.
oh, yes. Okay, thank you. So I was like, what was I gonna say? Thank you. She met this woman that she was at a conference or something, and
Or
the
no, at a art gallery.
art gallery, and the woman said to her,
Well,
just
she looked
looking at
across
her,
the room and
yeah,
she's like, this woman seems so familiar to me. I feel like I've had a conversation with her.
yes. And
And
the woman came over and said, you look like
or
maybe you
you
could be
could be
my
my long lost
daughter.
daughter.
You
Yeah,
look
my
just
long
like,
lost daughter.
yeah, you could be it because who I was with and myself. And then she started thinking, oh my goodness, I've never heard. And then she said, well, I don't know if that's true. They couldn't match up the dates, right? And then she said, well, do you want to find out or whatever? But she said it couldn't be you, but I don't think I'd reach out to my mother. I don't want to put that on her. And she said, no, let me tell you, she wants to know you're okay. And that's the first time she started getting into these conversations about,
Yeah,
wow,
and she
there's
was 40
someone
years
out
old.
there. Yeah, 40 years old.
Yeah,
And that's why people don't really understand adoption in so many aspects because even we as adoptees, I mean, here's a woman who wrote the most incredible book here, doesn't understand until 40 years old, right?
right.
It's like Journey of the Adopted Self with Benny Jean Lifton. Things came later.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and
then
then
this
we breaking the
breaking
silence.
the silence. And this is
Uh,
little lots of she started tape recording in 2002 the oral histories like we're doing
mm,
for adoptees. She
yeah.
started doing oral histories of women who surrendered a newborn between 1945 and then 1973, the passage of Roe. So
Can we
there's
read this
lots.
first part that just
Yeah, read
says,
that first part.
from Suzanne, you asked me why I agreed to be interviewed, and I think it was because you were here, because you came here and it spoke to me and spoke to me. That's all. There's still a voice in me that says, who would be interested? No one cared then. Why would they care now? I was abandoned when it was right in everybody's face. So I still believe that nobody cares. My personal struggle is to get beyond thinking I'm not worth caring about. I am here. I do exist. Maybe by adding my own 2 cents, I can help other moms who feel the way I do. Maybe they will find someone who cares. I don't know. It just makes me
So sad, I know.
emotional. Yeah.
It really, especially because it's our mother's era,
Yeah.
that what they went through where it's almost hearing them talk.
And I feel we just finished Relinquished, right? Which is more modern. And I still
Uh-huh.
have those voices in my
I
head.
know. It's just,
It's not that different.
mm-mm, no,
Oh, Sarah.
very, very well. We're going to dig in. Next week, we're going to read Dorothy and Annie.
Yeah.
So
Be
whoever's,
prepared and get some tissues.
yes, get some tissues.
'Cause
I love Louise. You always have the
sappy.
earnest, kind of old fashioned thing in you that I love.
You're,
I guess I'm harder than you or something.
you're not harder. You have the great you're not harder. You're squishy in the middle and I know it.
Squishy in the middle. Yeah.
I don't know. I
But
get
yeah,
text.
don't mess with me, man.
Yeah, don't mess with Sarah. Neither of us, you know what I mean? We've
No,
been
for
around the
sure.
block.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Okay, well, we have a great guest coming
oh, we
up.
do. Carolyn.
Yes, it's very and she's a great season opener because she really represents, you're gonna hear her story,
Hmm.
the baby scoop era, and just some of the just absolute wrongs, the
Yeah,
results of the baby scoop era that Carolyn is a great guest
she
for this
is.
opening of the book.
The reason we chose
Definitely.
her. Okay, well,
Yes.
what do we say? See you in a minute.
See you in a minute.